10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Marooned on a desolate planet, he is a soldier, alone with his enemy.
Don't you understand English, toad-face? I don't love you and you don't love me. We're strangers, you understand?
His suspicion will change to tolerance.
You saved my life. Why?
I need to look at another face, even as ugly as yours.
Tolerance will lead to friendship.
We should open up a little place here. I could ruin the food. You could scare away the customers.
And with that friendship will come an overwhelming responsibility.
You must be a parent.
Don't kid around, Jerry.
You must take my place.
Protecting a life he values more than his own. Dennis Quaid, Louis Gossett Jr., Wolfgang Petersen's Enemy Mine.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to the latest edition of our science fiction classics, where we talk about the great science fiction movies of the past. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, thank you for sticking with us during the break as I shuffled off to the old homeland to tend the flocks that had missed me so much. But I'm back in the Republic of Kazakhstan, so we thought let's talk some more movie stuff. What do you think, Pope? Is that a good idea?
I think it sounds fantastic. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And so that's what we're here to do tonight. And thank you for joining us, everyone. Obviously, I am your host, Brian. That's 70s Rock Fan. And today we're going to talk about a movie that I didn't realize was released 39 years ago. Almost to this day. Not quite, but almost. Just a week or so away. And despite its box office failure at the time, it's since deservedly, in my opinion, gained a cult following. It's a thought-provoking exploration of prejudice, humanity, friendship, and brotherhood. So a bit like this show, with its heartfelt narrative standing out amongst that plethora of 1980s science fiction movies. There's so many of good ones. And this one is kind of sneaks a little bit under that radar, but it's one that I think deserves to be talked about. That movie, of course, is Enemy Mine. A soldier from Earth crash lands in an alien world after sustaining battle damage, eventually encounters another survivor, but from the enemy species he was fighting. And they band together to survive in this hostile world. And in the end, the human finds himself caring for his enemy in a completely unexpected way, which was a bit of a shockeroony at the time. I mean, I've been told to go F myself many times, but self-impregnating I'm not sure even I am capable of that level of cunning stuntery that Drac did, Jerry. But yes, hey, spoilers. There's always going to be spoilers. So anyway, grab your popcorn, enjoy the show, and we're expecting Joe's arrival shortly as he's wrapping his show up and getting something to eat. But how are you, my friend, Pope?
Doing good, man. Glad to be back. Missed this for the last couple of weeks.
Me too. I was fairly busy. I didn't really do a lot of YouTube stuff, the odd YouTube short, one little video, but I was fairly caught up with family stuff and was tending to my ailing mother. But I did get to spend some time with my grandkids too, which is very nice. But it's good to be home. Yeah, because I always come home jet lagged with some kind of bug and knackered, and the older I get, the worse it gets. There's no substitute for your own bed.
No, there is not.
That's right. And you being a military chap, ex-military chap like myself, will know that there is no substitute for your own bed.
Or even being able to say you have one at any given time.
Well, that's true. Yeah. So, good evening to there's just another red shirt. Red shirt, I think you're in the DM group. You're welcome to join us. Great movie. Vince, good to see you, Vince. Welcome back. Gwagnar, good to see you. Someone I've actually met in person. Nice chat. Yeah, good to see Gwagnar here. Vince, we saw Davina, the wonderful Davina Duckworth is here. Swift -1. It's much easier name to say, so stick with it. I like it. Yeah, I'm getting old. Swift, Taylor Swift, that used to be whatever. I can't remember even. So the shorter the name, the better. Yes, they really did give a good part of the story away with that trailer, but it's still a good trailer. I think it's William Conrad was the narrator. The UK version of the trailer, well, the VHS trailer, not necessarily the movie trailer, was narrated by the great Tom Baker.
Oh.
Yeah, so Doctor Who. But anyway, yes, I admit I was busy with those two sheep. So yes, well, there was actually 3 if you looked at the video closely. Perhaps if you've got time towards the end of the show. I was on a little walk and I spotted a broken down old abandoned castle I'd never seen before. Small one. And I walked in through this field to take a shoot footage of it. And I turned around and it was being followed by 3 sheep. And that's my story, and I'm sticking.
They came to me.
They did. I didn't do anything. And I didn't do anything to offer them. Well, not normal, but So yeah, it is rather good to be back though in the saddle and get some shows planned, get back to making a few videos. And I'm pleased to say just another red shirt has joined us. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Is that it?
That's got nothing else for now. Well, thank you for the invitation, and I am happy to be here to talk about one of the more obscure science fiction movies that I actually love. This is a great movie.
It is, and it's only grown in stature over the years. I think it was a crowded. This is bang in the middle of the 80s, December 85.
Yeah,
the 80s, like this T-shirt I'm wearing across In Search of Tomorrow was all about 1980s sci-fi movies. There were tons of them. It was a golden era.
Yeah, not to mention action movies and
golden
rom-coms. And yeah, there was a lot of competition in the theater. I mean, 1985 was Back to the Future.
Yeah, exactly. I've always liked this movie, but I think I've only grown to appreciate it more over the year. And it's funny because it's on the surface of it, there's a lot of things in it today we would say were quite message orientated. Then it was just normal storytelling,
right.
But we'll get to that when we're going through all the details, and we'll run through some details about the movie and then show the stills. One of the reasons that prompted me to do it though is while I was in the UK, I did have the time to look in a couple of thrift stores in my hometown, and I managed to get a few DVDs that were quite interesting for like dirt cheap, even cheaper than thrift stores here. One of them was Enemy Mine, of course. This is the UK copy, 12 certificate. And that's important because this, and I didn't realize this for many years, is the UK theatrical version, which is 4 minutes shorter than the US one.
Really?
We were robbed for years of 4 minutes. Now, there's a 15 version, a different cut now available in the UK, which has restored those minutes. And amazingly, it was just conversations between the two main characters, but they also trimmed, the severed ear part. Because that apparently was shocking enough to make it a 15 instead of a 12, which is the classifications there. I mean, now you look at that and you go, it's a rubber ear with some tomato ketchup on it. What's the big deal? Yeah,
right. It's just like nowadays, I'd be like, oh, okay.
And Britain, obviously, they freaked out. So anyway, it was nice to pick that up for what was the equivalent of like a quarter, you know. So I got a few others. I'll make a video about them tomorrow. So that was pretty good. Yes, you're Mickey Mouse is one big stupid dope. So so that's kind of, I thought, you know what? Let's do Enemy Mine. Love that movie. And a couple of other people. I noticed Dave Cullen had did a video about it a year ago, and I think Pop Culture Minefield did a great stream on it too. So Jenny had it right all along. Your Mickey Mouse is one big stupid dope. Prophetic.
Very.
Very prophetic.
And it showed that Disney could at one point make fun of themselves.
That's right. So let's get launched. Let's get launched into it with the usual background to the movie. So released December 20th, 1985. A final budget, reportedly a big budget for the time. Reportedly $29 million, $40 million after marketing, and we'll get into a little bit of the production hell which caused some of that. And then a domestic gross in North America of approximately 12.3 million, unknown in the rest of the world. Param D. Singh just subscribed. Well, thank you, Param. Good to see you here. So underperformed globally, pretty much. Interestingly enough, it was the first Western sci-fi movie to be shown in the Soviet Union, which I didn't know until recently. And it has themes of détente and common human and Drac understanding, but common human understanding actually may have brought the Soviet Union to an end, may have ended the Cold War.
Nah, that was Chernobyl.
Or was that the Scorpions that ended the Cold War? I don't know.
It was Chernobyl that ended the Soviet Union.
So, come on, I'm trying to be positive here.
Hey, the end of the Soviet Union was a positive. Okay.
Yeah. But interesting that it was the one that they chose to show there, which
it is. But that was the Gorbachev effect.
I do, as usual, looking at some of these posters, some great art. There's one of the Japanese posters, doing their best to make Jerry look like a kaiju potentially.
Kind of, yeah.
Yes.
That's the very small poster for Comics Division and Culture Casino. The German poster, big German connection in this movie, of course, which we'll talk about.
Comics has that poster on the door of his room.
Yeah, it's very low down on the door.
No, it's the whole door. No, it's the whole door.
It's the whole door. Whole door. It's the whole domor. That's a terrible joke. Enemigos por instinto, aliados por necesidad. So I'm assuming this is the Mexican poster.
Latino slant is going to have your guts.
Paulie's going to murder me for that one. Yeah, thought it was David Hasselhoff. David Hasselhoff did end the Cold War. That's true. He ended the Hot War and the Cold War. The Russian poster, of course, the aforementioned Russian thing, completely omitting any picture of the white American dude.
Yes. Yes.
Not a bad poster, though. I quite like it.
Disney does that in China now.
Yeah.
Except they do it with other people.
Now, here's my first question of the day. Name that band.
Right.
Name that band. Is it the Stray Cats plus one? It's maybe it's the New Order. I don't know. It's just look at
the
it.
New Order's not bad.
So come on in the chat. What would be the name of this band? It's pretty intense.
Does kind of look like an 80s like German punk band of some sort.
It could be like
Yeah, I was gonna say Freikorps or something.
Yeah. Maybe it's New Kids on the Space Station. We'll keep those coming. I'll keep talking, but if there's any more. Right. So anyway, I had a bit of a production hell this, but this actually was a movie produced by an independent company called Kings Road Entertainment, although it was distributed by Fox. So they were kind of like canon films of their time as well. Producer here, Stephen J. Friedman, had produced, he was the guy that founded Kings Road, and they did quite well for a while, but he had produced The Last Picture Show, which of course had Randy Quaid in it. But also, to his credit and eternal credit, he produced Slapshot.
Yes.
So, yes, I had to mention him just because of Slapshot, really. Then he formed Kings Road Entertainment, and he did stuff like All of Me, Kickboxer. All the Kickboxer movies were Kings Road. Yeah, and a great movie that if you've never seen, I recommend thoroughly, with Dennis Quaid, The Big Easy, set in Nolens, and indeed features many of the best music venues and music acts in New Orleans in it. Great noir thriller. I think you might have seen it, Richard, probably. But.
Actually, no, that's one I've missed.
And Ellen Barkin is not Barkin. Well, she is Barkin in it, but yeah.
Oh yeah, especially those legs.
Indeed. So the producer and Kings Road had experience with Dennis Quaid, which obviously made him a good choice. The Jerry Davidge Project. The Jerry Davidge Project, the name of the band.
That's a good one, God.
That is a great one, Vince. That is a very good one. So yeah, Kings Road eventually, obviously, like all these independents, they kind of bit the dust, but they had their day. So well done to so Legalize Adulthood, our great friend. Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully we'll be seeing you on a show here again soon too. The band is called Hellbent for Leather. God, yes.
They do kind of look like a Judas Priest tribute band from the mid-'80s. I can see that.
They do. Well, thank you very much for the $10 super chat, my friend. We have to then, speaking of Priest. So Hellbent for Leather. Or just bent for leather in the case of the photograph we were looking at. Thanks, Legalize. Good to see you there. Thank you for that very much. I thought you were going to recommend Behind the Green Door. You mean actually being behind the green door or just the movie? So anyway, go ahead, my friend.
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that my answer might tend to incriminate me.
You might inseminate. It might inseminate you, as Jerry would say.
Yeah, well, that would be Gary, but I don't hang out with Gary for that very reason.
So the executive producer was a British veteran called Stanley O'Toole, which is handy if you're inseminating yourself, I guess. But he's the guy on the left with Dennis Quaid and director Wolfgang Petersen on the right. He's one of these British producers that had a zillion movies over the years, but things like The Boys from Brazil, Quigley Down Under was one of his, and Outland, which
another great one.
Yeah, which we did on this show sometime back, and Lionheart.
The shows we did.
Yes, it was, and still a great movie and a great show. Now, Lionheart, not the Jean-Claude Van Damme, but the Gabriel Byrne fantasy movie. I just thought I'd point that out. And Eric Stoltz, I think, is in that.
Thanks.
And hello, Joe. Hey, Joe.
How's it going? Sorry I'm late. I had to wrap things up and talk to Foxy while I got my steak. What's up,
you gotta
man?
eat, man. Oh, good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
Yep. I'm doing good. I'm about to turn on the avatar and have me a little steak.
Cool.
I think it's great we're talking about this movie though, because we I don't know if you remember me telling you this before though. We've got a young guy on our team on my channel that's in his 30s, and we have what's called the knock list, and we gave him this movie to watch not too long ago. He wanted to watch movies that had war as a backdrop, but didn't necessarily need to be a war movie, right? And so we put this on his list, and he was blown away by it. He loved it. He thought it was awesome. Yeah. This is right up his alley. I love this movie. Always have.
Well, I'm glad you could make it, mate. Thanks for being here. Tim is saying, hang on. So, I mean, there is a song behind the green door, so maybe that's the lyrics to the song.
Oh, no.
Well, was it Shakin' Stevens had a big hit with it. Behind the green door. Richard III, Dick 3. Dick 3 would be a good... Actually, it's not such a bad idea. Dick 3, the sequel.
Behind the green door was Dick 5.
Dick 5, that's right.
Yeah.
Cotton Ministries, good to see you, mate. Hail to you. So, Stanley O'Toole was the executive producer. I'm sure he was tearing his hair out with the amount of money they were spending. It was based on a 1979 novella by Barry B. Longyear, which first appeared in Isaac Asimov's science fiction magazine. I actually probably read that one because I used to get that magazine regularly at that time. And the story eventually won Hugo and Nebula awards. The movie was filmed largely in Iceland, but then studios in Bavaria and Germany. There's the book, the full novelization version. I think he did a follow-up as well. I don't really recall much else that Barry B. Longyear did, but it was the lyrics from Rawhide. Move them up, head them out. Okay. You see, because I'm so busy producing, I can't really think about those things. But you can see a lot of the Iceland stuff got dropped when things went sideways and they changed directors, etc. But you can still see some of those scenes there. And it does look quite... I mean, I don't know if many movies had been filmed in Iceland up to that point. Certainly, it's pretty common now for science fiction stuff particularly. But it's a very effective landscape.
Yeah, especially if you need kind of a desolate, alien-looking landscape. Iceland has a lot of really good territory for that. Yeah,
I think Tim's got a point. That is the alien from This Island Earth on the book cover, not Jerry. So it's a bit weird. So Wolfgang Petersen, the original director was Richard Loncraine, and he was fired after about 3 weeks of filming. And they went there because they went to Iceland. The studio didn't like anything they were seeing, the tone, the pacing, and the look. Seemed to be taking forever. He was behind. He was 6 weeks behind after 3 weeks, if you know what I mean. And they said it just didn't look like an alien planet. Like a lot of it just looked like bits of Iceland. So it wasn't getting the required effect, and he was blowing a ton of cash, and nobody had the actors didn't have any confidence. So they sacked Richard Loncraine and hired Wolfgang Petersen, who kind of reimagined the whole thing.
Good for us.
And exactly. Reshot a lot of the filming stuff, discarded most of the original footage, and then relocated most of it to studios in Munich, Bavaria studios in Munich in Germany, and basically built sets for the whole thing rather than doing it all outdoors, which had been Loncraine's thing. So all these elaborate sets were built, which really looked pretty good in the movie, I think. And
they looked outstanding, actually.
They did, yeah.
There's a lot of soundstage sets that in movies, especially going back this far, that weren't convincing. This was Dagobah I thought Dagobah was a great soundstage set with Yoda's planet. But there are plenty that have been horrible. The one that I think is the most amazing soundstage set I've ever seen is the scenes in the episodes of Band of Brothers where they're in the woods north of Bastogne.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
And they actually have trees exploding.
Yeah,
the effects guys are just all over the place in that episode and the early part of the next episode. So yes, this was a fantastic interior set design.
Wonderful stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Wolfgang, as Vince points out, Wolfgang Petersen only died a couple of years ago. In fact, another reason I thought it was great to do this is that obviously Louis Gossett Jr. passed away this year. So it's kind of a tribute to him from us too, to do this today. So a little bit behind the beat with that, but nonetheless, R.I.P. to Louis Gossett Jr. Yes. And we'll talk a little bit more about him in a minute. So Wolfgang Petersen, of course, who said himself he wasn't a fan of Star Wars style science fiction, but he liked this story, so he agreed to come on board to do it. Also, he obviously got a big paycheck, which probably helped. Yeah, and that Star Trek stage where Kirk fights the Gorn. Well, that Kirk fighting the Gorn was an early example of a plot that could be applied to this movie, I think, which is quite interesting. Yeah, the arena one. Yeah. So Das Boot, of course. In fact, he was a son of a German naval officer born in 1941, Wolfgang Petersen. So I keep wanting to call him William Petersen, but that's CSI. That's a different thing.
War movie conversations come up all the time, and this movie is never not mentioned.
Oh, Das Boot.
When it comes to naval movies, this is one of the tops of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most compelling war movies ever made. And it was a movie, and then they chopped it up into a mini series. And it's whichever format you view it in, it's riveting stuff. Absolutely riveting. So, I mean, he was off to a good start with this. He'd made some other German stuff. He did go on to make a lot of Hollywood movies. Never Ending Story, which was before Enemy Mine. The rest of these, I think, were after.
The Perfect Storm was when I was a kid in the 90s.
Yeah. My favorite one on that whole list that he made was Air Force One. I dig that movie. I know it's over the top. I know there's no escape pod from the plane or anything like that, but wow, it's a great action movie.
Get off my plane. But yeah,
Gary Oldman makes any movie great. So
he does.
Hey.
True.
The one I'm missing off here is Troy. I just didn't think it was worth putting in here.
It wasn't.
It's not.
Unless you're female. It'll
make you female watching it, but you might turn out female after watching it. But the screenplay was a guy called Edward Camara, who didn't have an enormous career, but he did do Lady Hawk, which I love, is a movie that I love, and Dragon the Bruce Lee story. So he did a couple of things, and then with a tash like that, he should have been in movies. But,
right. In fact, he kind of looks like an older Matthew Broderick with the stash.
He could have given Sam Elliott a run for his money.
Sam Elliott's stunt double.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stunt mustache.
Stunt mustache.
Stunt stash.
Stunt stash. So not great, but those are two pretty good movies. I like both of those. Obviously, Dennis Quaid, who plays Willis Will Davidge, who's a bilateral Terran Alliance fighter pilot, a BTA fighter pilot. Snowdub, thank you, Snowdub, for $2 Canadian. Tell Jacques his sheep got loose again. Yes, they did, and that was my fault. With me, Jacques McHugh, for visiting his flock without his permission. So.
Yeah. Can I just say how much Dennis Quaid here looks like Kurt Russell in The Thing?
Yeah, he does. Now that I was actually going to say that he's starting to do a Kurt Russell thing here.
Yeah.
So In the Line of Fire was indeed on the in the bottom left-hand corner of these movies. It is a pretty good movie. So Wolfgang Petersen did pretty well overall. But yeah, Dennis Quaid, he's a good Texan boy. Dennis, that's what I like from Houston. You know what, Snowdub, I have to play a clip for you for that. This one, maybe.
I was not fondling my lambswool sweater. What would I do something like that for?
So anyway, yes, Dennis Quaid, good Texan boy from Houston, has a very shy and retiring brother
Right?
Yeah.
Shy and retiring. Good
Very
Lord.
quiet.
Are you
You
crazy?
never hear
Randy's
from
out
him.
of his damn gourd. It's
You never-
ridiculous. By the way, I highly recommend. He recently did a interview with one of those long interviews with Joe Rogan. Go watch it. The one he did right before Reagan came out. He did a spot on Joe Rogan.
I saw some of it.
This guy is incredibly based. He really is.
He's
really
kind of kept it under his hat for many years, but
Yep.
but look, I mean, he's also mildly attractive to the ladies, which may have some bearing on his career. I don't know.
Mildly, yes.
So he had not done a lot of stuff up to this point, though. 85. He wasn't a huge star by any means. Long Riders, of course, which featured like 16 sets of brothers. Here he is with Randy. Randy looks just like that today, except with a big beard.
Right, with a big ass beard. Yeah.
And that hat suits him really.
Yep.
So he had appeared in that, and then here he is in The Right Stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is just one of the greatest movies ever made.
It is.
It's one of the greatest books.
Who's the
Gordon
best
Cooper?
pilot? Who's the best pilot you ever saw?
Yeah, Gordon Cooper.
Yes.
Oh, he makes Orange look good.
He does.
He was an extra in Stripes, by the way. I didn't know that until I was
Yeah.
doing the
He
research.
said he talked about that in the Joe Rogan interview. Yeah.
Extra in Stripes. And of course, the other star. It's pretty much a two-hander. There's a couple of others we'll talk about, but Louis Gossett Jr., who was a much bigger name than Dennis Quaid, I think, at this point. To be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he'd already won his Academy Award.
Yeah,
he got that for Officer and Gentleman. And
That's right. Yeah.
And what's incredible about this, though, guys, if you've never seen this movie, much like Colin Farrell in The Penguin these days, you would never know that's Louis Gossett Jr. the entire movie. You would never know it. You wouldn't recognize it by his voice, and you don't see it in the makeup. It's just an awesome job.
The voice, he did all that stuff. There's no effects there. He did all that just acting.
Mm-hmm.
He actually, as a joke, in school, used to talk while gargling.
Yes.
Wow.
And he used that to help create the voice of the alien, where basically he's talking through he's gargling and talking at the same time. And there's no effect there. There's no sound engineers involved.
It's like Pope on a night out drinking beer.
Yeah. Or the water fountains at Epcot before Bob Iger ruined it.
Yeah. So
I gotta tell you that I have to say this because it reminds me of this. At Epcot and Walt Disney World, my wife said, "Leave the water fountain on." I said, "Why?" She said, "Leave the water fountain on." And I left it on, and you suddenly hear, back in the day, a gargling voice from down in the drain saying, "Turn off the water. We're drowning down here."
Very clever. Yes.
And it was to get the kids to stop pressing the button.
It's cool. Very cool. That's when days when Disney was fun.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Louis Gossett Jr. playing Jeriba Shigan, or Jerry, of course, as he was a Drac fighter pilot and a man with a secret.
Right.
Obviously, sadly, Brooklyn native, sadly passed away this year in many, many things that would take us too long to go into all of them, but he'd been active in TV and movies since 1957, and I think was way better known than Quaid at this point, although Quaid theoretically kind of got top billing. But
was Iron Eagle before or after this movie?
I think it was after.
I think it was after. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it was after. Obviously, if somebody mentions An Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh yeah. God, yes.
There are only two things come from Montana. Steers and the other one. Yeah. Steers and queers.
Harley Ermey stole that line.
Yeah. So he had a particularly impactful role as Emil Foley. Yeah. There's only two things come out of Montana. One of the few things that made this movie watchable, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
playing Tush at the opening bar fight with when Richard Gere's in his naval gear, naval officer gear, and they come out the bar and they fight the locals. Tush is playing by ZZ Top. That scene was okay, but yeah. So they had appeared together before, as someone in the chat mentioned. Jaws 3D.
Yes, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
The last Jaws movie, I saw it in the theater. I couldn't take it after that.
So Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. were together in Jaws 3D. Not a movie they talked about a lot later.
No.
I wonder why.
It was horrific, no doubt.
I think Enemy Mine, Vince, was just after. Enemy Mine was just before Iron Eagle, because this Enemy Mine was released December '85. So I think he must have filmed them pretty close to each other.
Probably.
It's a very unknown cast, a very low-key cast of this, but in order to provide some gravitas to the villain role, ultimately our favorite genre guy, Breon James,
yes,
was cast as Stubbs, leader of the Scavengers. Immediately appears on screen, you know you're in for a proper villain.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
I loved him in the 40 movies. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, he was great. The bad guy of the 1980s and early 90s.
Yeah, and so obviously Blade Runner, he's beloved for. But for me, another favorite, which we've done on this show, Southern Comfort.
Southern Comfort.
Yeah. Great movie. Where he borrowed Randy Quaid's hairstyle and facial hair.
Yes, he did. And he's not the bad guy. He actually gives those guys a chance.
He does. Good guy in this one.
Yeah, he's a good guy in this one. Yeah.
Great actor. So adds a little bit of. I mean, this is really the only name other than the two leads that were known. There he is in 48 Hours.
Yes.
Chewing some scenery.
Yes.
What an actor. Great guy. The kid, though, Zamis, was played by Bumper Robinson. I just thought it was worth having a quick mention of him. Larry C. Robinson. A huge, lengthy career since then, mainly as a voice artist. So tons of TV, animation, games, voices. Nothing particular like, oh, God, he was a big star of this, but he works constantly. He's had hundreds of projects. So good for him, because not all child actors can carry that through, you know. So well done to Larry Robinson. And as I mentioned, this is what he looks like today, of course. But as I mentioned, on the UK VHS trailer, the voiceover is done by Tom Baker.
Wow.
I do have a copy of it, but it's the same as the other trailer, just with Tom Baker's voice on it. So that's just a little obscurity for the UK market.
Well, and in the 80s, I mean, especially, this would have been right after his tenure as the Doctor?
Yeah, he wasn't Doctor anymore by this time, I don't think.
No.
It moved on to either Colin Baker or Peter Davidson.
Yes.
Peter Davidson, maybe. Can't remember.
Peter Davidson succeeded him, and Colin Baker was after that.
Yeah. So just a little curiosity. I have a download of it, and there's a copy of the trailer with his voice on it. So, uncredited, of course. So the composer, actually, the music, which is quite important to this movie, is Maurice Jarre. Maurice Jarre. You can say Jarre, you can say Jarre. He's French, so what does it matter? He'll never. Father of Jean-Michel Jarre, of course.
Of whom I have a number of albums.
Me too. I'm a big fan of his electronic stuff. And by this time, his father had adopted that style. So this is a synthesizer-led electronic soundtrack as opposed to orchestral. Oh, he's also the adoptive father of Kevin Jarre, who wrote Rambo 2 and Tombstone. So,
Nice.
Celebrated an award-winning composer. And I think it's like all these, it's a touch of class he adds to the soundtrack. I mean, it's, Tim's saying it was in 1985, it was Colin Baker who was the Doctor. Yeah. He never got a fair shot at it because I liked Colin Baker.
They gave him a horrible costume.
They did. I don't have any. Yeah, they did. Pictures of it, but Maurice Jarre won multiple Oscars, Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago, all those David Lean movies, hundreds of great movies. So it was a pretty heavyweight composer to get on board, which is nice.
The production team in general was all either A-listers currently or would become them later, and it's kind of the cast is kind of the unknowns.
Yeah. So the director of photography is this guy here, and his name is Tony Imi. He's actually 1 O short of being in Black Sabbath.
Right.
He's another one of those prolific, hard-working, behind-the-camera British filmmakers nobody had ever heard of, but hundreds of TV and movies, a lot of British stuff, but a few highlights like Last Days of Frank and Jesse James with Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson. And the great North Sea Hijack is in his portfolio, of course.
Oh,
yes.
Otherwise known as Folks.
Folks, that's right, Folks. We're going to do this movie soon.
You got to. It's the best thing that man did besides James Bond.
But Tony Imi also I'd forgotten this movie. He was the director of photography on For Ladies Only.
Oh, no.
Starring this guy, Gregory Harrison, and Mark Singer was in it too. Remember Mark Singer?
Yes, Mark Singer's one of my favorites. He's one of the most underrated dudes ever.
Exactly. So it was about
Beastmaster. He was in a bunch of stuff.
A movie about male strippers. He also, and for some reason I didn't download the photo of it, there's a movie called Firebirds, which starred Nicolas Cage, Tommy Lee Jones, and Sean Young. And Tony Imi was the DP on Firebirds. It bears a striking resemblance to a certain Tom Cruise movie. When
Top
you look
Gun,
at it.
maybe?
Yeah, it's like Firebirds. Has anybody ever seen Firebirds?
That's the one about the helicopters, right?
Yeah. I wish I had a photo. I hadn't actually. So Firebirds, the movie, helicopters. So no way were they ripping Top Gun off. And
I have seen this movie when I was
a
kid.
No,
I forgot all about it.
Yeah, but I'd forgotten about it too. In fact, I'm a bit unsure about whether I've actually ever seen it. But Firebirds. Anyone in the chat seen Firebirds? I don't know. Anyway, he was the DP in that, but I just thought it would linger on Gregory Harrison there, just to, for the ladies.
The ladies appreciate you. 70s, they do.
Yeah. So the special effects were great. All the special effects were by ILM.
Yeah, they were doing everything back then.
Yeah.
They had become huge.
They had the sets, as we mentioned, were brilliant, but there was also some quite interesting ships in it. So the BTA fighter, the Echo 2, I think it is, and then the Drac ship. This is Airfix is a British brand.
Yep.
I'm not sure if they ever sold anything over here under that name. I think they was owned by Mattel.
I've bought a couple of Airfix kits. I don't know if they were imported or whether they were sold here, but
yeah,
I ended up with them.
So they're pretty good ships. Obviously, far too small to actually fit somebody in, though, which I think is a bit of a con.
Yeah. If you're going to film me being on a rocket ship, at least let me ride in it.
Yeah.
I want the 1-to-1 scale model, not the 1-to-4 scale model.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
where would you put it?
I mean, no, people talk about the ships from movies quite a lot. I don't think you ever really see much mention of these, but they're still pretty neat. There just wasn't that many of them in the movie. There's only
and they're only in it for like the first 5 minutes, and that's the last time you see it.
The Drac one, which is fairly cool. These are real props from the movie. It's a little bit blurry, but there's the spacesuit corpse that you see at the beginning of the movie, or near the beginning. And then there's the scavenger ship, of course, which just looks like an extremely large weapon that Pope would have used in the Marines.
I mean, you're not wrong. Also, I could swear that model was used in Outland.
It's probably the same people. I mean, it's hard to tell. And
especially with sci-fi spaceships, like, they'll move some of the greeblies around and kind of rejigger the model a little bit and then reuse it for a new movie.
Indeed. So, so we got a little bit before we get. Well, actually, we'll get into we're getting some of the stills first. I do have some clips as well. Hopefully, we'll get away with playing them. And let's take a look at this great movie. Now, the opening sequence, I always felt this stuff with the very eerie music in the background kind of reminded me of Alien.
Oh yeah, the intro was very Alien. I know
very Alien. So they've kind of gone for a little bit of mixture of themes here, somewhat, but
which of course only came out like 6 years before this was made. So
that's right, it's still fresh.
Uh-huh.
But so there's the upside down corpse. But so I do have to say that they are setting up the humans as the bad guys.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Earth is finally, I think it's set in starts in 2092. So we've only got another, 70 years to get our ass together to get out to the far reaches of interstellar space.
Brian, you and I won't see it.
Speak for yourself. But yeah,
Brian intends to live forever or die trying.
Or die trying, exactly. Yes. So yeah, they start off with a bit of a space battle action, but yeah, they set it up so the humans are out there. They call the Drax squatters because the humans come along and go, "Oh, what a lovely planet! That's ours now," and they're already living on there. So that's why I say there's somewhat of a message in some of this, And obviously Dennis Quaid's like gung ho, yeehaw, let's fry some lizard or whatever. And there's any war movie. This is so many aerial battle war movies coming out of the sun, So there's not great deal of this in the movie because most of it's on the planet, but there's a little bit of space action and it's quite well done,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all right.
Yeah, it's well done enough. I mean, it's not next gen like mind blowing.
No,
sci-fi, but it's a good little space battle.
It's pretty good, yeah. I mean, it's not bad compared to the 85 peers. But of course, he's chasing this Drac down onto the planet now.
Yeah, and that what it serves to do is make it believable that these two wind up on the planet.
Yes,
it's the setup to put them there, and it's necessary to get them there, and we believe it, so it serves its purpose.
Yeah,
you're not going to be jumping out of your seat to cheering at the space battle in this movie.
No,
but it's a plot device.
So I want you to pause that, but for some reason my mouse isn't working. Shoot. I wanted to just share a couple of little video clips of that fight. So here we go. Let me just show that in the stream.
Gotcha! Attaboy. Yeah. 6 more bandits on 3. Need to copy that?
Roger, I'd go too. I guess I thought we didn't see him.
Well, I sure as hell didn't see him. Did anybody see him?
I see him now. Well?
Will, bandit on 0. Hold on to your lunch, Joey. Echo 6, bandit's closing.
Where is he, Will?
He's right on your deck!
Ouch.
Am I the only one that thought that his wingman sounds like Brahma Bull?
Yeah, but the trouble is he's not got a glass of bourbon in his hand.
Right?
Hey, bandits at 6. Bandits at 6.
And he's not wearing a smoking jacket, right?
Joey. We're hitting atmosphere. Why is this down? I lost him. What's on the scope? Willie, God's sake, pull out of here. We're gonna burn up. Damn it, where is he? Ejected. He's out. The bastard's out. Come on, Joey, we're punching out. Oh shit! Get your nose up. Come on. Get your nose up! That's it!
That's what you get for having your fighter built by Boeing.
Well, that's what you get for having ILM do your special effects, because you get sound in space.
So, yeah, that's obviously Dennis Quaid needed glasses because I can't see him. Well, he's right there in front of you. I can see him. What do you mean you can't see him? You know. Anyway, it's pretty straight into it and dramatic, and now they're down on the planet. He doesn't know, well, because his buddies died, but he doesn't know whether or not the Drac is alive or not. But he's got fire burning within him. He's going to go and check this guy out.
There's a tempest in me.
He's going to go and he's going to go and administer some Houston justice.
Yes.
So, but this is some of the remaining Iceland scenes, I guess. And then back to the studio sets, but it's pretty good. I do love these sets. I mean, it does look like an alien planet. Obviously, one that's close enough to Earth, though, to be able to breathe in and drink the water, etc. This
alien monster is phenomenal.
Yeah. And at this point, we'll see it again later, but it's got shades of Star Wars in this part.
Oh, yeah.
shades of the Empire. Return of the Jedi. Shades of Return of the Jedi in this bit. But they throw a few things in there. And the ruined Drac ship is pretty effective looking.
Yeah.
He's got a cute little gun.
Yeah, right.
Not a laser pistol or, just a proper gun. So I was trying to think of obviously the movie that bears the most resemblance to this is Hell in the Pacific.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would say, which obviously is the World War II. Is it Lee Marvin and Toshino Mifune, where they're stranded on a Polynesian island, Japanese and American guy, and start out trying to kill each other, and then overcome those differences until karma decides to intervene later. But
it's a great dynamic. I mean, the only movie that I've seen with something like this was The Wild Geese. If you remember the subplot that went on between the president they were trying to protect and that one soldier that was from South Africa. And they just could not stand each other at first, and when it came right down to it, they were ready to lay their lives down for each other. It was pretty good.
Yeah, there's elements of that. It's just, I'm very impressed with these sets, it's incredibly well done. There's a film called The Defiant Ones from 1958, Stanley Kramer, about two escaped prisoners who are shackled together, a white guy and a black guy. Has a similar theme. They got to learn to overcome that.
Tony Curtis.
Is it Tony Curtis? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll find it.
Well, the main relationship in 48 Hours between Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte is the same thing. They just cannot get along. But at the end of it, they're sticking up for each other,
And obviously there's like survival tales like Robinson Crusoe, which have stuff like that. And something we mentioned earlier, the Arena episode of Star Trek, has elements of this too, where Kirk has to put his repair the tearing in his shirt and try to make peace with the Gorn, And plus, this was still the Cold War era, so so there's lots of that in it. The planet, I think, is called Phyrene 4. Not that really matters, of course, but this is kind of a neat sequence because, first of all, you can see that Jerry is what he appears to be, which is more of a reptilian creature. He's quite happy in the water, whereas, of course, Dennis Quaid's never even had a bath. And then
you're confusing him with Randy again. Come on.
Sorry, that's Randy. Yeah, and Booger 414 is mentioning it as well. The TNG story, Darmok,
and that one would have only been done a couple of years after this. I think that was like season 4, so that would have been like 91.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, so it's a story that's not claiming any of them have ripped any of the others off, but it's a story that's been reused many times over the decades and centuries, and makes a lot of sense. Two opposites having to work together and learn to respect each other. Mm-hmm. It's almost like getting married, really. But obviously, Jerry, I mean, all the way through this, Davidge is portrayed as being the sort of, dumb hothead, whereas Jerry's much more, he can already speak English, he's, or human. They've got a name for it, but it's not English, but, he's much smarter. He's able to survive better. I did love the bit, though, where David's just tried to fry him in the water, with using the fuel, which I thought was pretty neat. Didn't work, of course. No, there's no way it was going to work. But and then he gets suckered with the booby trap.
Yeah.
So nothing to do on this planet but breed. Well, somebody's breeding.
Yeah, the only one that can.
There's only one breed going on. I'm glad they didn't go see the remake, which Terry Metalis is making. Probably will go. It'll probably go all the way there.
Oh no!
Oh God, no!
Oh no!
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes all the way there. Just how does the alien get pregnant? Well. They're stuck on this planet together for a long time.
Oh, my God. Look, this is one of those movies. Does it really need a remake?
No.
I don't think it does.
No.
I don't think it needs one in the slightest, but I think this would be an opportune point to play another little video clip, because I think I may have... Oh, yeah, the Lake of Fire that we saw earlier. Let's have a look at that one. So, like an idiot, using up all that fuel that they could use later on for a good purpose, but never mind.
Yes.
Dumbass.
Yes, it's true. We'll get to that scene later, but after finding out Jerry's pregnant, well, don't look at me. I just love that line. Don't look at me. It wasn't me. Great, just such great practical effects.
Yes.
The set, the fire effect, everything's just so well done. The lighting, superbly done by the German studio and the team that was working on the movie. So, but yeah, he fails miserably in his attempt to kill Jerry and ends up as Bantha fodder.
Bantha fodder.
Bantha poodoo.
Wrong series.
Yeah,
that's true. So Yeah, so he's BTA, the human military and governing organization engaged in the war against the Drax, an alien species. The BTA represents humanity's efforts to expand its influence in space. So as we saw, it's Jerry has to just, say, well, we've been out here for quite a while before you guys came along, And there he is eating the alien balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's great. The two of them. It's very much a two-hander for most of it, and it's superbly done between them. I don't know how. I don't know what their relationship was like as actors. I mean, they seem quite friendly in some of the photographs that they're in, but they had worked before together. But they certainly seem to have some chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And for a movie like this, you need that to pull this off because it's really just the two of them on screen for most of it.
Yep.
The Thing with Two Heads. There's a movie I haven't seen since the 1970s or earlier. The Thing with Two
Ray
Heads.
Milland. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra, the movie. So if the band earlier, if they had a band, this is just a duet now. This is a duo. I don't know what they would be called. Hall & Oates.
Or the Doobie Brothers.
Hall and Goats.
Hall and Goats.
Pooga. I wonder how long it took to get that those prosthetics on every day. It must have been quite.
Oh my God!
Hours.
I'm sure the cowl probably didn't take long. It was probably slip-on piece, but yeah, the stuff applied directly to the face.
Yeah,
that probably took forever. Yeah.
I mean, they had to make him look black. Oh wait a minute, he was black. Sorry.
Rimshot Maestro, please.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
See, Justin Trudeau, he can do that stuff in a few minutes. I mean, it's. So there they are, their first house together, their starter home.
Starter home, yes.
One room,
very close, very intimate. Got to keep
cozy.
warm together. Cozy.
Cozy is the word.
And now they get it's trying to teach each other language. But whose underpants are that hanging up in the background to dry? That's what I want.
Right.
This is the whole ugly head thing. You ugly head. But it's kind of what's interesting is for me is that Jerry's an alien, but so close in many ways to humans, and that's why the movie would work. It wouldn't work otherwise.
Yeah.
That they can actually share a sense of humor,
Yes,
and other cultural references or other references. It's not, they're not so different that they can't communicate. I mean, how would you know? How would we know what an alien sense of humor was? You know.
Hell, I don't know what a German sense of humor is.
Well, neither do they.
Yeah. This train is only 2 minutes late. Yesterday it was 3 minutes late. Ha, 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 ha. You know, that kind of thing.
And we just conveniently don't ever ask where the train's going.
Remember that time we invaded Poland? That was funny.
Yeah. Berlin to Warsaw in one tank.
Booker's got it right. The red washing. They should never. The red washing. They shouldn't be hiring humans to play drag roles. So Terry Metallicus is going to have a hard job. Then he's going to have to cast a Drac somehow. Well, I was thinking Rosie O'Donnell might do the part or something.
Oh, God. Please no.
I mean, she's got the alien look down.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does she? That's an insult to aliens.
That's an insult to aliens, yes.
Oh.
But the movie starts to get into a lot of quite interesting discussions and conversations. Your great shit smart eats shit.
Wow.
Your Mickey Mouse is one big stupid dope.
dope.
And he's right.
Yes, he is right.
He's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, now here's the Return of the Jedi sequence.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I was watching it even at the time, thinking I'm pretty sure I've seen this before somewhere.
Right. He's about to get swallowed.
Rosie O'Donnell is the space station. Oh, Vince, you're a card. You're quite the chap. But
oh shit!
Yeah, they actually
just the tongue is bad enough.
Yeah, I mean, it makes short work of his leg there. I mean, I actually was surprised when you look at what it's done that he actually is able to ever walk again, because it stripped him right down to the bone.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. He's bad to the bone. Well, there you go. That's Rosie O'Donnell.
There you go.
Poor Rosie. Oh, Rosie.
Yeah, he got jacked up, man.
He did. That's pretty bad. I mean, that's, I hope they've got some antibiotics, because he's going to get an infection.
A little antiseptic cream.
Yeah, Dirk Diggler is the Sarlacc.
You don't know what's in that. You don't know what's in that alien spirit.
I do like what he says. I need to look at another face. Davidge may be a bit of an ass at times, but Jerry doesn't want to be alone.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the net, and it shows a common thread between them and humans as well, is that they're both social creatures and need that.
That's another one. Yeah, they need somebody to relate to. Yeah, it's tough. When you look at movies where people have been stranded alone, I guess that Tom Hanks one, it would drive you insane.
Oh yeah,
well, it did, and to the point where he had to invent a friend.
That's right. Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah. Wilson was cheating on him. I hate to tell him.
Well,
he met a basketball.
He did. He met a volleyball that he liked. Yeah. And now we're getting into the Talman. Now I find this interesting because the Talman is it's their sort of combined book of Holy Scripture and historical record, kind of like the Talmud. So they've made a pretty close allegory there, I think.
Yes.
And then, of course, he talks about the Drak prophet, Shitsuman, who's kind of got a bit of Japanese Confucians thing going on. So, they've made a couple of parallels in the script to Earth-based things that we would know. I mean, obviously, Draks are not copying the Earth, but we Talman. That sounds a bit familiar.
Yeah, it needs to be relatable.
Yeah, but yeah, Shitsuman is very like Confucius, except with a kind of a Japanese twist. The Japanese, of course.
Now, it's been a while since I saw this. Who is narrating?
I mean, I've watched it 2 or 3 times this week, and I was pretty sure it was Dennis Quaid.
Oh, okay.
Does the narration within the movie. The trailers were narrated by different people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure it's Dennis Quaid. Sounded like him.
It's been a long time since I've seen this movie.
I mean, he does survive, so...
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But yeah, they're getting into the old... and some of the things that he's saying are very similar to Earth sayings that, like, Confucius or Buddhism or other Christianity or whatever it's. So it's, again, this common link between these two species.
Mm-hmm.
They think similar thoughts about these things. That's a pretty cool shot, that.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
But now he's getting into his Kurt Russell face.
Yeah, he is.
Or Jeremiah Johnson.
Jeremiah Johnson, that's it.
Yeah, he's getting into
Yes.
Jeremiah Johnson, which is a survival movie. At the end
It
of the
is.
day. Yeah,
It is. Yeah, but he doesn't have somebody attacking him every friggin' 20 minutes either.
That's true.
If you remember the end of Jeremiah Johnson, he was constantly under attack.
Oh god, yeah.
Yep.
Here's these meteors that keep. So it's a lovely planet.
Oh yeah.
Just just nice for a holiday.
Don't understand why there aren't more people here.
Yeah, I would think Hilton would have built a resort there by now.
Actually, does bear a striking resemblance to downtown Chicago.
True.
Iraq.
Dragface.
Oh man, Dragface.
Yeah, now they get into. So they're starting to go nuts with each other because it's like. And let's face it, one of them, unknown to the other, is suffering from hormonal issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of sick of the sight of each other at this point.
I'm going to go for a walk.
That's
I'm
right.
going to buy some cigarettes.
Yeah. I'm going down to the pub. Don't wait up.
Don't wait up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so Tom Baker did the narration of the British trailer or the VHS trailer. I've not been able to find I've got a copy of the British theatrical trailer, and it isn't Tom Baker. It's somebody else. But I do have a copy of the VHS trailer, like advertising the VHS copy of the movie, and that has Tom Baker as the narrator. The American narrator for the trailer was William Conrad, who did a lot of trailers. So it's a little bit hard at this point because there's certain materials that you can't get. As somebody was saying, I think Snowdub, it's hard to get a copy of this physically.
Mm-hmm.
But this one has the theatrical trailer on it. It's the British release, and it isn't Tom Baker, but there is a version on YouTube of the trailer for the VHS release that has Tom Baker on it. So it's a little bit tricky to get materials for this movie. For some reason, I don't know why, it just never. People say, "Oh yeah, it's hard to get that one." So I don't know. Maybe there's just no interest in putting out, like a deluxe collector set or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think it made enough money.
Yeah,
and they're just not willing to sink more money into home video for it.
But it has. But I mean, there's the most obscure movies get really great collector's editions and collector sets. I mean, there could be rights issues. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, there's some movies that you just never see again in physical media.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm so glad I got a copy of Dogma when I got it. You can't get that anywhere now. Yeah.
But some of them are, like I would have thought this would be deserving of a really good, a steelbook 4K Blu-ray type collector's edition,
right?
With everything you can get stuck
behind the scenes stuff.
I mean, there must be production footage of these great sets. There's lots of stills. So
yeah, but I'm not sure this movie did well enough in the theaters and on VHS and so on to convince the studio to spend the money on, doing an upgraded image.
Yeah.
Come up with a decent Blu-ray, let alone 4K render, and put it out there.
There is a good Blu-ray version visually it's been cleaned up. There is a Blu-ray version of it. It looks really good when you see clips of that. So someone's done the work at some point.
Yeah. I just don't think they're willing to put any more work into it. And it's sad. It's sad because, this movie doesn't get the credit it deserves.
I don't think it does. It's weird.
It never has. No, it never has. And, it's like we were talking about. I mean, it came out in the middle of the 1980s with a ton of competition from other types of movies. And it's basically two characters for the majority of the movie, which to most people would look like a television show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be a TV show, not a movie, because back at the time, you had two main characters, but lots of extras that came in and were involved with them. And this is really two people, one alien, one human, the whole time.
So I'm just looking at the movies that were out in December 1985, and this was released on the 20th December. So at number 1 was Rocky IV.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Spies Like Us was number 2. The Jewel of the Nile was number 3. White Knights number 4. Films like there's not a lot of science fiction in this lot. Jagged Edge was out. Back to the Future was still in the top 15, and that was released in July.
Now let me ask you something. You read that list. Those are a lot of those movies you just mentioned are all-time classics. They really are.
They are, and that was just
people
December.
Still rewatch them today.
Yeah. Death Wish 3 was at number 22. To Live and Die in LA, that's a great movie. So, but there's not a lot of science fiction in there. But even Back to the Future was outselling Enemy Mine.
Oh yeah,
and that'd been out since July. So
yes.
So, Star Chaser: The Legend of Orin. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody watches that these days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, not. Yeah, I mean, it didn't have a lot of science fiction competition, which is in that month, but it just didn't seem to catch or take off at all. Possibly just because it was pretty much a two-hander, and people were perhaps looking for more spectacle, not realizing that, of course, the sets and other practical effects are fantastic in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is also still the era where big name actors would get people into the theater, and this one kind of didn't have anybody like that.
That's right. Even Louis Gossett Jr. wasn't a huge name. The two of them were known but not stars. Yeah, White Knights. I remember that. I liked that. I went to the cinema to see that. That was Baryshnikov and Gregory Hines. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Taylor Hackford.
Dance movie.
Isn't Taylor Hackford Kathleen Kennedy's husband?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I getting the wrong person?
No, I think you're right.
I can never remember. No, Helen Mirren's husband. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's right, because Helen Mirren's in that. Taylor Hackford married Helen Mirren. He'd like those big British
tracts of land.
Tracts of land.
Let's watch ourselves now.
White Knights was a good movie. Baryshnikov was attempting to get into the movies. Yeah.
By the way, to the guys in the chat, go look at Helen Mirren movies from the late 60s, early 70s. You won't be disappointed.
Just watch Excalibur. Oh my God.
Yes.
Holy
she did some cheesecake stuff as well before that. It's some pretty good stuff.
Good Lord. She's a babe.
So
she was. Woo.
Look, I always remember these girls. I was talking about Diane Lane last night doing my video game stream because we were talking about girls. And I remember these girls in their prime. When I see them these days, I remember them then.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Every time I see Diane Lane playing Superman's mom in these Zack Snyder movies, I'm like, man, she was hot in Streets of Fire back in the day.
She wasn't. Helen Mirren was indeed in Caligula. Well, a lot of people were in Caligula that didn't realize what was going on.
Oh yeah, Peter O'Toole,
John Gielgud.
Isn't is it Roddy or Malcolm McDowell that's in that movie?
Malcolm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a lot of the name above the line name stars that were in that realized what was going on.
Right.
No.
I don't think they saw in their contract that the production house was Penthouse. You know.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the stuff that went in that movie came in post production after they were done with principal filming, and the famous line is Peter O'Toole came out for the press conference at the opening of the movie and said, "I've just made my first porno."
Oh no,
he was pissed.
The thing I always remembered about that movie was that those big machines that they pulled across the ground and they buried people up to their neck and they had these big saws cutting their heads off. I was like, God almighty, what am I watching, man?
So again, downtown Chicago.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that's the 5 freeway at LA.
I love all this stuff here with the lineage. He's got like a very thin lineage, as Jerry says. You've not got a lot on your lineage, have you? Whereas Jerry's got like 500 names that he has to sing. And but Davidge, for all that he's, earlier he's portrayed as a bit of a sort of hothead that's not got a lot of brains, he remembers it all. He takes it in and learns it. The maker of computers.
Yep.
It's a touching moment. These are touching, possibly a farmer. Is that it? Is that all you've got?
I am honored.
It's this is heartwarming stuff. It truly is. Hopeful, heartwarming stuff. I really do like it. And I guess that's, I don't know, do people like positive stuff like this in movies?
Yeah, of course.
That's why these movies were popular and why a lot of the newer ones kind of don't work. Because back in the 80s and 90s, you could put people in dark situations like this, but still have a sense of optimism and hope about it that's just missing from the modern equivalent.
I mean, they're conversing about real things here.
Yeah.
And shared values.
I have a question. Do you think that he knew he was in trouble?
I think he did. I think Jerry
Do you think he knew that there was a possibility he wasn't going to make it?
I thought, in retrospect, and watching it again a few times, that Jerry, by this point, realized he may be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And
because he's not at home, he doesn't have the support of his own people to know what to do to take care of him in this situation, right?
I am not a woman. I love that. No, everyone gets nervous. I am not a woman. That would make me even more nervous, actually. But yeah, it's but the asexual that he reproduces asexually, he says.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're told to go F yourself, that's what could happen.
That's it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You're a drag.
I mean, many of us have been in that position. We've had to reproduce asexually, or at least attempt to.
God.
Yeah, we've all been there, mate. We've all been there.
Yeah, the whole thing with how he's paying attention to his lineage and all that stuff. It made me think, this guy may know he's not going to make it.
I think he knows it. Yeah. And he's desperately reaching out to Davidge to. You've got to do this. You've got to
pass this on, right?
Yeah.
You've got to.
Someone's going to have to look after this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to present him. That's the thing. He has to present his lineage so that his species knows where he came from. Its lineage. There it is, right there. And that's what Davidge suddenly realizes. I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't do this,
nobody else is going to do it for him.
No one else can. Yes. Yeah. Nobody else can do it for Davidge.
Davidge grows up, becomes a mature, very different person in the space of a very short time. Yeah.
Yes.
It helps he looks like he's Kurt Russell, of course. But,
right.
At least he's not in the Hateful Eight.
No, it's true. But yeah, this wouldn't this just freak you out?
Oh yeah.
What is that? I ain't going in that thing.
Yeah, right. I was like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. It was a bit of a twist, I have to say. You don't see that in Hell in the Pacific.
No.
No cesareans.
No. But I loved it when he said, "I'm pregnant." Oh, it wasn't me. Don't look at me.
That's
funny. Yeah, I guess the 2024 version might have them actually being gay, and they decide, and maybe then they'll decide not to have the baby. I don't want to go any further than that, but you know.
Please no.
This is. I hope not. Terry Metalis.
Every time you mention this, I'm like, no.
Terry Metalis may have a
no.
chance of
Please,
doing it
no.
properly, but
Yeah.
Because I did like this movie. I had it on. I think I had it on beta. I kept my betas for a long time because I figured out that when you go from VHS to beta, the copyright doesn't work. You know, the copy guard didn't work, and you could get a clear picture. You know, sound. Right. Because if you remember, if you tried to do it from VHS to VHS, it came out all squirrely looking and stuff. They had a pretty good copy guard on it, but when you changed formats, it didn't show up on them. So I had like 500 movies on beta.
I should have kept them. I got rid of all my VHS, and I bitterly regret it now because I had stuff there you can't get.
Yeah, you can't get anymore. Yeah, I should have kept it. You're absolutely right. Because the thing that scares me is they're starting to change movies now. Every time I watch Return of the Jedi and I hear Darth Vader yelling no, it just makes me cringe. I'm like, God, really? No. What in the hell are you doing?
So just quick point here: why is the baby Drac covered in treacle when it's born? Is that normal? I guess it is. And of course, lucky for them, they don't have to be fed with breast milk.
Oh, thank goodness.
That would have been a bit tricky for Dennis Quaid.
Just a little.
Just a little tricky. Even with a plastic appliance to wear. But yeah, he becomes completely immersed in this kid and something you wouldn't have seen. I mean, I guess they've been here for a couple of years now on this planet. Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Oh, Culture Casino's hair.
That's right. The weave is short.
Yeah, the
weave has appeared.
Yes. Look at this, man! Wow, wherever they found to shoot this at, did you say it was Iceland? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that looks like Iceland.
Yeah, those are the Iceland shots. You can still see that, and it's an incredible landscape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see it in movies like Prometheus, and there's a lot of Iceland stuff now because it looks so alien.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. As long as it's not wintertime, then it's just snow.
Mm.
Then it looks like Hoth.
Indeed. Fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's kind of a shame, though, because Louis Gossett Jr. and Dennis Quaid were so great together. Made a lovely couple.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know it's just Dennis Quaid and the kid, so it's but I like this. You know, the kid is, you know, I want to look like you. I want to be a human. You know, why am I not? There's a lot because kids have those things anyway. You know, it's quite interesting.
Just weird, like this whole scene when he keeps saying "you're a drac," does it just come across like a racial slur somehow?
You're a drac. Actually, I had a few other clips I haven't played, so I'm going to work my way through them just to catch up.
Don't you ever get tired of reading that book?
No.
Well, what's in it anyway?
Things.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
It is called Tarban. It contains the words of our great teacher, Shishvar.
I suppose you have to know the Drac language to read it, right?
It would help.
It would help.
It would help.
So teach me the Drac language.
It is not for you, Darfitch.
Oh, Shizmat is too good for us humans. Is that
No,
it?
just
Not too good for humans, but too good for you.
Oh, now you judge character.
Do you not remember what you said, Darfitch?
You know, maybe you forgot what you said about Mickey Mouse.
That doesn't even sound like Lou Gossett Jr. Man.
I know, it's incredible. Oh, this is just a short clip, but sorry, I got these. I should have played these earlier.
It's my head.
That is your ugly head.
No. This is my head. That is you head. You ugly head.
It's such good acting. I just love that bit. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Just play this little clip too.
I have never seen a drac. Only my own face in the water. I wish I was not a drac. I wish I had your face.
Oh, Zam.
He wants to look like Culture Casino.
Right? What's a weed?
Who doesn't really?
Five fingers.
Oh, Zammies, listen to me, listen to me. Now, as Drax go, you are a great-looking kid. You are a great-looking kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that you've never seen your own kind. Now, someday, you're gonna go home. And you're gonna forget all about this god-awful planet and all about me.
I will never forget you, Uncle.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I really do like
Yeah, it's great.
it brings a tear to your eye. It does. So, but there's a twist coming.
Oh, yeah.
Well, their existence is going to be screwed up.
It becomes Dances with Drax pretty quick here.
Yeah.
Dances with Drax. This is the prettiest of the ugly kids. I mean, the thing is, Davidka says you're a fine-looking Drac. Well, he's only ever met one before. How would he know?
Right?
He could actually be an ugly kid.
I could be the buttest Drac that ever walked.
Could be an ugly kid.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Americans making a German movie in Iceland. How is that not a winning combination? With a few Brits thrown in. So the scavengers, who apparently are tolerated by the BTA and the humans because they enslave Dracs, even though their practices are a bit, rapacious, as it were. So I guess they're just strip mining for, like, I don't know, heavy metals or something. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. Yes. Finally, some threat.
Yeah. Finally, something to fight about.
Yeah. And of course, the damn kid doesn't listen.
No, of course not. Kids never listen.
No.
They
Don't
never
go
listen.
near those people.
In real life and the movies, they don't listen. You tell them to do one thing, they're going to go 180 degrees the other direction just because you said not to.
I do like him trying to teach the kid football.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be really useful on the Drac planet. But it's universal, obviously.
Yes.
Like, what are you talking about, Uncle? He's got the stance there.
Yeah, he does. He's ready.
Like, run. Yeah, I love this bit.
Yep. 20-yard tackle, 20-yard line.
And then he ends up grabbing him by the leg and he just drags him along.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So this now has got to be, I don't know, 3-4 years on, because the kid grows faster than humans. So
yes.
Yep.
It's at least 3 or 4 years he's been stuck on this planet. And certainly doesn't want to go near the scavengers to try and get off.
No, because he knows what they'll do to the kid.
I did wonder, though, why his mothership there that you see that the fighters operate out of has made no attempt to look for him that we know of. I mean, you would think they'd have some pretty neat ways of scanning planets or whatever to figure out if someone was still alive. They could find the wrecks of the ships. They apparently said, screw it, we didn't like him anyway.
Didn't like that guy. He was too cocky.
Yeah, he was always trying to take over the band.
Right?
Too much Star Trek.
Leave him to rot. Right? Yeah.
His brother's a bit suspect too. Yeah. So yes, the kid just won't listen there. He has to go for a wander. I wonder if those horrible, evil-looking people that Uncle told me to stay away from are really as bad as they.
Really as bad as he says.
That's right. I can do some novelty. He wants some novelty, I guess.
Yeah, but that actually is a kid.
Yeah, that's what kids do.
That's
They're
right.
curious.
Yeah. It's like yeah, exactly. Oh, that's dad. That's just dad being dad.
And then a real villain showed up.
Yes.
Energetic little bugger.
Little bugger. That's a very English insult.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, see, he wouldn't know that, of course, he hasn't got a Drac parent looking after him. It's a human. Oh, right through the neck.
Ugh. Yeah, got him.
Nice. That'll take a little bit of walking off.
Yeah.
That's got a sting.
It'll buff out.
Yeah, it's Leon from Uber.
And it's just nice to see that even in, when we're in the middle of our first interstellar war, the 1911 is still around and kicking.
That's right.
That's what I was saying earlier. He's got this lovely little gun. It's the 1911.
It's still a great wireless hole puncher, no doubt.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yep.
Now they're getting round to figuring something out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Which implies that they've been in this system the whole time, that mothership. Because you wouldn't move that thing around in a hurry, would you?
No.
Which means it makes even less sense for them not to have sent out any kind of search or rescue party.
That's right. It's kind of weird. That bit doesn't quite hang together. Yeah, maybe they did go away. Yeah, I mean, came back later.
Could be.
Yeah, and they failed the Voight camp test, joined the scavengers. Yeah. Well, did he really fail the test? He didn't really complete it because he shot the guy giving him the test. So, it could be declared a null and void, no result.
Woke up, boys and girls.
Yeah. And now they've sandwiched his head between two plates.
I'm telling you, what is that, man? That can't be comfortable. They don't want him choking anybody else out, apparently.
No, you see, the band have moved on from the leathers. Now they're in...
yeah.
This was their Devo era.
So do the Devo stuff now, yeah.
Yeah, they're in Twill now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He better not meet Darth Vader.
Right.
They did go to an awful lot of trouble here to build sets for this stuff and create these costumes and all this other stuff when really this is like, I don't know, 5 minutes of the movie.
5 minutes of the movie, yeah, because shortly after he's healed up, he's off and running.
That's right. He says, I'm quitting this band.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Yeah. I don't like the direction you guys are going.
No, there's another band for you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Can't think of the names. Sprockets.
The actress.
Sprockets.
Yeah, right. I that was the thing that was coming to mind when I saw those uniforms. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, the other actors. I think her name is Catherine McCormick. I don't really know any of the other actors and actresses in this. So
but she was in a few things back then.
I'll bet she was.
Okay, I'm not going to say it. I'm
So
going
now-
to turn that around. But
Now he's got his insemination suit on. But I must admit, this bit, much as I like it, and I think we might even have this clip. I'll talk about it after we're showing the clip, but I have some questions. Oh, we get to it. So we'll play this clip and then we'll get to that super chat. There we go.
Mr. Davidge, you have no authorization. Please deplane immediately.
No way, Charlie. I'm going out.
Shut down those engines, Mr. mister. Better get the hell out of there.
Going through. I swear it. Now you open those doors. I'm going through.
Didn't like
Open
it.
them up. Open the doors.
That's badass.
Well, it is, but he's just blown a big gaping hole in a pressurized area.
Yeah.
Which, admittedly, that door has to open to let people out, but you think they would depressurize and make sure there's no other people in that area. But he just blows a hole in it. So
if you're in a hurry, I mean, what's a few dozen casualties?
that's right. Just the whole ship just decompresses. Legalized adulthood for another $10. Thank you, my friend. The band are now an 80s impressionist band called the Bin Liners. The lead Osama and the Bin Liners would be the
yeah.
So naturally, thank you, sir. You have to get another video clip for this. Otherwise, what's the point? How about this one?
Sweetheart, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
The greatest Arnold Schwarzenegger movie ever made.
Yeah, apart from all the other greatest ones.
No. That is the greatest one, in my opinion. My humble opinion.
I would put Terminator 2 in that running, but
we'll have to have a whole show about this.
Hey, let me tell you something. You guys know I love 007 and spy stories and all that. That is my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger ever, right there.
No, nothing can beat this one, which I picked up on DVD in Britain as well.
Oh no.
Hercules in New York.
Oh my God.
Media.
Yeah, of course. Why don't you just pull out the villain? Yeah, let's talk about great Schwarzenegger movies.
The villain, that's right. Yeah.
The Running Man.
They're remaking that too. And I think Glenn Powell's in it, right? Isn't he?
Well, they should put Sydney Sweeney in it as the protagonist, call it the running woman. She spends the whole movie running.
Yes,
jiggle physics.
Yes, I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the ear. There's the severed ear. It's the one. It's almost a little bit out of place that where he throws the guy in the bin and he gets chewed up and the severed ear comes out. It doesn't quite fit the movie, I guess, but it's good. But here's the So here's I got a little bit of that scene as well. So let's have it.
That slime bag.
See you, dude. No.
Bye.
Nasty.
That bit kind of had a little bit of a Temple of Doom feel to it.
It did with the whip as well and everything. Yeah.
That looked like me last Tuesday when I was hitting the floor.
Oh.
Of course we know.
I don't know if they told you while you were gone. I dislocated my shoulder.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I just got the sling off. It was this shoulder right here.
You dislocated your coccyx.
Somewhere in their ship.
But yeah, so he's known. He's famous as Uncle. You'd think this guy had never seen an industrial accident before.
Right?
Has he never seen a severed ear before? We've all seen severed ear.
There's a bunch of bloody goo coming down, and he's freaking out about an ear.
I know.
Yeah.
What about all the other bits? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The naughty bits didn't bother him. The ear bothered him.
Oh, Vince is right. The Hercules in New York is technically an Arnold Strong movie.
True.
It was. It's got Schwarzenegger on the cover now. But I mean, a physical copy of that. It's quite unusual.
That's rare. It's rare.
Yeah.
Not many people spent money on that movie.
It comes with a complete week's worth of steroids inside too.
Yes. Second prize is 2 weeks worth.
2 weeks worth. Here's to you. Yeah, good one. Yeah, this is the action part of the movie, of course. But, yeah. See, Zamus will never recognize him because he looked like...
No, he doesn't have the beard.
Yeah, it looked like Culture Casino.
He should have brought his uncle with him, right? Uncle's uncle, Randy.
Would that mean he's the man from Uncle? If he sent somebody else, you'd say, "I'm the man from Uncle." Yeah. Did he cry, Uncle? Yes. So, of course, like all villains, Ricky Skaggs here, or whatever his name is, has to talk too much.
Yes, the monologue.
The monologue, yeah.
The James Bond school of monologuing.
Just going to monologue the villain instead of the good guy instead of just killing him. And now we have the.
I love about the Incredibles. The villain says, "You got me monologuing."
Yeah,
they actually make fun of that idea.
Yes, it's awesome.
And now we've got the Terminator and Terminator 2 part of the movie where they chase people through an industrial setting.
Yep.
Yes.
Still pretty damn good sets, though.
Yep.
Yeah, all looks really good.
But Terminator 2 wouldn't be made for another, 6 years? I think it came out in 91.
Oh, yeah, something like that, yeah.
They always have a thing in an industrial area.
Yeah, production design, absolutely brilliant in this. Let's have all these these carts of rubble going around very long paths.
Yep.
To unspecified places.
With absolutely no guardrail whatsoever.
No guardrails. Yeah, it's a scavenger ship. These are outlaws. We don't need no stinking guardrails.
Yeah, OSHA does not visit them.
Yes. At least not twice.
Now, what is interesting for me
Just say no to crack. Damn it.
What's interesting here about a lot of this is Davidge's comrades come down to see what's going on in their ships. I don't think it's explicitly said anywhere that the war isn't still on.
Right.
So the Drax don't react badly to them, even though they're their enemy, in effect, these BTA pilots. And again, at the end, when Davidge takes Zamis to his home planet, there's nothing that says the war is over.
No.
So Davidge is doing all this stuff, but it's really just a personal thing. The war is still on. Yeah, but I guess the Drax are, Davidge gets to their planet and delivers Zamis and whatever, and is celebrated for it, even though the two species are still at war. I don't think it ever says that the war stopped. So,
have you ever heard the story it's based on?
No. Well, if I did, I may, because I used to get that magazine. I may have read it. I don't recall reading it.
I was just curious as to what the situation was in the original writing.
It's and here, so he goes, delivers Zamis and does the whole lineage thing on behalf of Jerry, and then eventually, it's later on in the line, his name, Davidge's name, is added to the lineage years later. So it's quite neat. So
did they make a sequel to that?
No. Well, there was a second book.
Oh, okay, but not a movie.
Not a movie. Okay, no, I don't have any other clips. Sorry, that was it. So there it was, Enemy Mine. Very satisfying, I thought.
It's a great movie, man.
Yeah, I thought that's a really well-made movie with some interesting themes, a couple of great actors, and it just kind of went nowhere, which was weird.
Well, it depends on. I mean, it just depends on how you look at it. I mean, yeah, it wasn't a big box office hit or anything, and I mean, it was out on DVD, but yeah, they haven't. You're right, they haven't done the anniversary celebrations for it and stuff, but it's still a good movie.
It just kind of slipped out of the public view over the pretty quickly. It's got a good reputation now, though.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do. It's one of these movies. It's just kind of grown over the years, and people go, "That was a damn sight better than everyone remembers."
Yeah,
certainly the production design, fantastic.
Well, it wouldn't be the first. Big Trouble in Little China is one.
Yeah.
Because of the studio, and The Princess Bride because they didn't know how to market it. And both of those became cult classics on home video.
Hey, most recently, Disney blew it with John Carter, and that's a great movie.
God, yes.
They completely blew
that movie. We're going to do that.
Netflix.
We're going to do that movie here one day because
got to, man.
I love it.
That was awesome. But we were actually talking about this on my channel tonight. We're going to do a show in the beginning of January just about some of the greatest box office bombs of all time, because there's a lot of them that become cult classics that people love.
Yeah,
I mean, hell, Rocky Horror Picture Show, that is a beloved movie, didn't make shit in the theater when it first came out. Nothing. Yeah,
true.
Let's come up to the lab, see what's on the slab.
That is just awesome.
Yes, and looking at this movie, and I have watched it 3 times this week, it does have a message. It's the sort of thing that now it would be done very ham-fistedly and overtly and in your face, and the message is that whilst there's a few elements to it, like the humans are the bad guys and Davidge is an idiot, and the message is a good one. You know, it's understanding, it's peace, it's brotherhood specifically. Shared values between very different people. In this case, well, we call them people. It's an alien, but adversaries becoming friends and working together. Bonding, that bond. I think it's a fantastic message.
Yeah.
It's about fostering understanding and not taking your first impression.
Yeah.
Not going with your first impression. It's sort of the don't judge a book by its cover. Read the book first. And that's what this movie's about, is that each of them reads each other's books. They get to know each other.
Yeah. It's a hopeful film. It ends on a hopeful note. Again, it's not cynical and hard and dark, and it would be. That's why it'd be interesting to see a remake. Although Terry Metalis isn't the worst person that could make it, just whether it'll become darker or more cynical, or whether it will retain that sense of hope and growing hope throughout the movie. So we'll see.
Like I said, that's what's kind of missing from a lot of modern cinema, is that sense of hope or optimism. That's just, I don't know whether modern writers don't know how to bring it out of their writing, or if they're just that incompetent that they can't make you feel that way.
Yeah. The message was that not all Russians are bad, just some Russians. Today it would be, the message would be men can have babies. So that's what I'm wondering, if they're going to go the whole way there and it is actually a relationship and blah, blah. That would be, to me, that would destroy the very brotherhood bond that they built. Men can be.
That's what worries me every time you bring it up about this movie. Good Lord, no.
Like, there's no modern movies, they can't have men being close without it being sex and gay.
Right?
Yes, because that's toxic.
Yeah. This portrays that very well.
Yes.
That male friendship, male bonding thing. So I admire them greatly for making this movie. It's a beautiful movie. I'm sure the chat all love it too, or they probably wouldn't be here. Maybe they just love us. I don't know.
They love the movie.
They love the movie.
They don't love us.
Did Davidge have a Mickey Mouse comic with him? Well, this is the thing. At least Jerry had his Talman, whatever. Did Davidge have a comic rolled up somewhere?
Right.
Male bonding with Gorilla Glue. Really good. And yeah, they're trying to make Starsky and Hutch gay. Well, maybe they were always gay. I don't know. But yeah,
they're trying to wait a minute. They're trying to ship Starsky and Hutch. Give me a fucking break.
Come on,
I mean, not everything has to be about sex.
No,
you know.
That's what these people don't understand, because to them it all is.
Yeah,
because they're a bunch of degenerates. So
I mean, it just sometimes the message can be not involving that. So It would destroy the whole uncle thing. Yeah.
Yes,
it would. He's uncle. He's not father or mother. He's uncle.
Exactly.
I don't know. Anyway, it's a beautiful movie. A movie that shows how messaging used to be done well in movies.
Yeah.
And a
They don't
positive.
hit you over the head with it. They just tell a story and you pick it up.
Yeah,
from
positive
there.
message of understanding. So I've enjoyed it very much and thought it was well worth celebrating. So thank you all for joining me in that celebration.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Hey, you're on the DM list. You can join in.
No, I know I am, but you reached out and said, "Come on, get in here." So I was like, "Yeah, I gotta get on."
So let me just. We've got a couple. We're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes, but I think it's only fair for those who've not seen the short. I'm going to show the short of me at Utters Hill Castle in Pennycook.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Before we do that, before we show that video. Oh, Empress NM has become a member, amongst other people.
Hey.
So lots of gifted memberships. I actually may be reforming them because I think I might lower the levels down a bit. I think I took the default ones that YouTube offered, and I think I might make them more affordable. So stand by for that. But this was all our great friend Legalized Adulthood gifted 10 That 70s Rock Fan memberships. Thank you for all your support, my friend. I appreciate it very much. Keeping the lights on. I need every penny I can get after that trip I just had to make. So, but lots of great memberships and some names I don't recognize as well, which is really good. Well, for you, my friend, another video clip needs to be played. Another great science fiction movie. So yes, let's view this.
I'm just out for a wee walk, just before it gets dark.
This is what I get up to when I'm in Scotland.
Outside the town, Pennycook. See the Pentland Hills in the background. Pennycook there. And I don't know, this isn't far from where I was brought up. There's a wee castle here, Utters Hill Castle. Just a small one, obviously in disrepair, privately owned, but I never.
You can't go anywhere in Scotland without tripping over a ruined castle.
On a hill.
Right.
At least I don't recall seeing it. Certainly never walked up here. But yeah, it's the sort of thing you'll stumble across back here in Scotland all the time. Old castles, etc., just broken down, sitting there doing nothing. Obviously, you can't go in any closer. Yeah, it's not the largest one, but interesting nonetheless. So yeah, in the background you get the Pentland Hills, and Pennycook's down there, and Edinburgh would be in that direction. But I've also got a fan club.
I was fixing to say.
I don't have anything to feed you. I'm sorry, I got nothing to feed you with.
The flock joined me.
Yeah, I had the fan club with me.
Get the flock out of here.
Get the flock out of here.
Nice.
There was another sheep had actually got out of the field, and I had to shepherd it back in. Or it would have got run over by a car.
Is that what the kids call it?
Is that what you call it now?
That's
Yeah.
what the kids call it. So all those people have now, all those new members are now part. Legalized Adulthood, who's keeping the lights on single-handed here. Penny Cuck, well, it's Penny Cook, but Penny Cuck, the cheapest wife a man can buy. Good man. Okay, one last video for you then. For you, one last video. So thank you, Legalize. It's just amazing that could not have arranged those sheep if I tried.
Yeah.
And I'm
Perfect.
walking through this field, I turn around and they're all following me. Like, this is manna from heaven for the channel. Anyway,
right.
They were obviously lonely.
That's right. Thank you all for being here. Pope, my friend, what have you got coming up?
Well, I mean, as usual, you can join me over on Rumble every 11 p.m. Saturday for Midnight Mass, where I play you guys a little 2-hour radio show. Although we only went for an hour last week because I was exhausted. But
indeed,
yeah, I play you guys some classic metal stuff, a lot of the newer stuff that I'm listening to or just discover, and even some stuff from the chat. So hopefully you guys will join us for that. And then I think I got a couple rock and roll religions I want to do before the end of the year that we might make happen. So that'll be fun too. Hopefully you guys will.
You're going to be on Sunday too, aren't you?
Yes, I'm going to be on Christian stream on Sunday where we're talking some CCR.
Cool. Well, I'll be there for some of that.
Me too.
It's a little bit coincides with time that I'm told by my wife that I have to retain for domestic purposes and not do YouTube. So,
you got a honey-do list.
Well, no, it just usually involves eating dinner and watching something on TV, but it's sacrosanct time. So I will be there for the first half hour or so of that show. But yes, we'll join Pope in that and Joe on that too. Joe, what you got going on?
Oh man, the schedule's on the page. I'm going to be playing next Tuesday. I'm going to be playing Rumble Roses. If you like jiggle physics, come check out some female wrestling. Back in the 360 days.
Nice.
Going to be doing CCR with you guys on Sunday with him, Christian, and we're going to do the best of Wednesday. I don't know if you're going to do your show on Christmas Day, but I'm not doing mine. So our end of the year show next Wednesday at 5:30. It's going to be the best of pop culture of 2024. So
yeah, I'm in two minds about Christmas Day. We'll see. I might do something.
Well, my team has told me they've got stuff to do.
Well, I know that
I might be on by myself saying hi to everybody. Yeah.
Well, Christmas is not such a big deal for us, but
no, people our age, yeah,
two of us, yeah.
Two of us here too, yeah.
So I may be streaming. Mm-hmm. And I'll maybe watching YouTube.
Maybe we'll do it together, man.
Well, we could, yes. Just like Jerry and Davidge. Yeah, they could do it together.
There you go.
But thank you for being here, mate. Redshirt, thank you, my friend, for joining us. Anything you want to plug?
Well, I'm not of mine, but I will be back on YouTube on next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, on a little show called Toxic Tuesday that you might be familiar with, 70s, on 32 Flavors. So Nick Weiser, we're going to be talking Bad Santa for Christmas.
Excellent.
Love it.
Billy Bob Thornton. If you haven't checked out Landman yet, do
Billy
it.
Bob.
I've heard that. We're gonna have to check that out. We have that streaming service, so I'm gonna look at it. That's me.
As Billy Bob Thornton once said, to get on the nerves, he was him and his band were touring Canada, and he got pissed off, and he said, "Canada's like America without the gravy," and they got acres of bad publicity in Canada for that.
Well, Taylor Sheridan, he developed the show just for Billy Bob. And you can tell, man, dude, you guys would love it. I mean,
I might get around to watching it soon. Yeah, I've got.
There's a scene where I'm not giving anything away in the show, but there's a scene just to give you an idea of what he thinks about things, where he's talking to a young female lawyer, and he says, "Young lady" to her, and she looks at him and goes, "Oh, misgendering, I guess, is going on here." And he goes, "Oh, really? Did I get that wrong? I'm sorry. I apologize, sir. And by the way, kudos to your plastic surgeon for removing that Adam's apple. You did a fucking great job."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the way to do it. Take the piss. Yeah. Yeah, I might get around to watching that, but anyway, thanks guys for being here. Thank you everybody in the chat. We did have over in Rumble, Sergeant Snowflake Melter was on Rumble in the chat. Still haven't got round this software to putting the Rumble chats on screen, but hopefully they'll be doing that sometime. But thank you for being over there. And here, thank you, Davina, for modding. Thank you, everybody, like Legalize Adulthood and Snowdub, who super chatted, etc. Legalize, you're a man amongst men. And thank you, everyone in the chat, for all your comments and your support. Next week's show, I think I want to do that Who's Next? Who's Next album.
Yeah, that's what I was pushing the entire time you were in Scotland. That's
so I think we'll do that next week, and hopefully Legalize Adulthood will join me because he's the Who expert extraordinaire. And tomorrow I'll probably be on Midnight's Edge After Dark, and then Thursday night Throwdown on Comics Division. Friday night Ascendant Art. Saturday night Bourbon and Boarding. God, I'm tired already. Some of Delorme's Vinyl Revival Sunday, and I'm going to try and get a video out tomorrow. And I've got a lot of physical media from thrift stores to show off. So I'm back, baby. I'm back.
That's what you get for putting content on your channel.
That's
damn it!
Right. Jeez, I got to keep contenting. Oh God, I've got so many ideas. I just think, oh God, I can't be bothered to start. No, so there will be a few videos. There are a few videos in various stages of production. Let's put it that way. So, who's on second? No, Watt's on second, isn't he?
Yes. Who's on first?
Who's on first?
What's on second?
So we're all going to get those who stick around will be redirected to our good friend Zach's on his What's Wednesday show. So stick around for that if you want. And I will see you all very soon. Take care, everybody. Good night. I'm going to have to update these.